Have you heard about F around and find out parenting and thought, finally, a parenting approach that doesn't require me to be a perfect, gentle parent 24/7? If this sounds familiar, you're facing one of the biggest parenting dilemmas of our time. After reviewing decades of child development research and working with countless families, I can tell you that there's a critical difference between consequences that build resilience and consequences that damage your relationship with your child. Choose the wrong approach, and you'll either raise anxious kids who can't handle the real world or disconnected kids who see you as the enemy. So today, I'm going to break down what FAFO parenting actually is, what the research says about it, and reveal whether this approach can build both resilience and connection for years to come. FAFO parenting gained mainstream attention after a Wall Street Journal article went viral. The basic idea is simple. Let your kids F around, meaning give them freedom to make choices and test limits, and then let them find out through natural and logical consequences. So what does this look like in practice? FAFO parents might let their children forget their lunch and experience hunger at school rather than bringing it to them. They won't nag kids about brushing their teeth, letting them deal with the dentist's feedback instead. If a child leaves their bike outside and gets rusty or stolen, then that's a learning experience. If they procrastinate on a school project, they face the stress and lower grade that come with that last-minute work. On the surface, this feels like a direct counter to gentle parenting, which often gets criticized for being too permissive or for avoiding consequences altogether. And honestly, for burnt-out parents who feel like they're constantly managing their child's emotions while walking on eggshells, FAFO can seem refreshingly straightforward. The appeal is real. It promises to prepare kids for the real world while taking some of the exhausting emotional labor off of parents' plates. But here's where we need to dig deeper into what the research actually tells us. Now, before I sound too critical, let me say this. FAFO parenting isn't entirely wrong. In fact, several core components are actually backed by solid research. First, the autonomy piece. Decades of research show that children who are given age-appropriate choices and freedom tend to be happier and more well-adjusted. When parents are overly controlling or constantly preventing their kids from making mistakes, we actually see higher rates of anxiety, depression, and poor coping skills in those children. Second, natural and logical consequences are research gold. These are consequences that either happen naturally from the child's behavior or that parents enforce but are directly related to the behavior. Studies consistently show that clear, consistent consequences are incredibly effective for both improving behavior and supporting mental health. In fact, both parents and children rate natural and logical consequences as the most effective discipline technique. Third, experiential learning works. Sometimes we parents use way too many words, especially with younger kids whose language comprehension is still developing. So kids often learn better from real experiences rather than from lengthy explanations about why they should wear a coat. So FAFO gets some big things right. The problem is in what it leaves out. Here's where FAFO parenting starts to fall apart from a developmental perspective. The research is crystal clear that consequences need to be delivered with warmth and respect, not a mocking tone or a told you so way. Yet the whole find out mentality can easily slide into a punitive, unsympathetic approach that research shows is actually harmful. More concerning, some examples you may have heard about in popular media include things like throwing a child into a pond or biting a child back after they bite you. This is where FAFO crosses into territory that research consistently shows is counterproductive. Physical aggression simply teaches kids that aggression is how we solve problems. But here's the biggest issue. FAFO parenting misses some crucial developmental realities. Prevention is often more effective than consequences. Things like clearly communicated expectations, helping kids practice coping skills when they're calm, maintaining predictable routines, and helping children avoid their triggers. FAFO also tends to neglect emotional coaching and connection. Yes, consequences matter, but so does talking about emotions, validating feelings, and maintaining that secure attachment bond. Research shows that emotional coaching improves children's emotion regulation and their behavior. And here's something really important. FAFO often expects kids to solve problems independently before they actually have the cognitive tools to do so. Young brains are still developing executive function, problem-solving skills, and emotion regulation. letting them figure it all out without guidance can be actually developmentally inappropriate. This is where authoritative parenting shines and why it remains the gold standard in child development research and the focus of my parent coaching program. Authoritative parenting takes the good parts of FAFO, the autonomy, the consequences, the real-world learning, but balances them with warmth, support, and guidance that developing brains actually need. Authoritative parents do use consequences, but they use them with empathy. They might say something like, I notice you're frustrated about losing video game time because you hit your sister, and it's hard when we feel angry and we don't know what to do with those big feelings. Let's talk about what you can try next time, and video game time will reset tomorrow. They give kids age-appropriate choices while providing scaffolding. A 12-year-old might get to manage their own bedtime routine and face the natural consequences of being tired the next day, but a 5-year-old gets to choose between 2 appropriate bedtime stories after following the established routine. Authoritative parents focus on prevention by teaching skills proactively. Instead of waiting for a child to have a friendship conflict and then implementing consequences, they practice conflict resolution during family meetings, role play different scenarios when everybody's calm, and help kids identify early warning signs when they're getting overwhelmed. Most importantly, authoritative parenting recognizes that discipline and emotional connection aren't opposing forces. They work together. You can be firm about boundaries while still validating your child's feelings. You can allow natural consequences while also offering comfort and problem-solving support. Here's the truth that social media doesn't want to tell you. You don't have to choose between being a pushover or being cold. The research consistently points to a balanced approach that includes clear expectations and emotional warmth, natural consequences and proactive teaching, age-appropriate freedom and appropriate support. The whole gentle parenting versus FAFO parenting debate is really a false dichotomy that only exists online. In real life, effective parenting isn't about picking a camp. It's about understanding child development and responding to what your specific child needs in each moment. So yes, let your kids experience some natural consequences. Give them age-appropriate choices. Don't rescue them from every uncomfortable feeling, but do it with warmth, do it with guidance, and remember that your job isn't just to prepare them for the world, it's to help them develop the internal skills and secure attachment that will serve them throughout their lives. The goal isn't to find the perfect parenting style, it's to raise confident, capable, emotionally intelligent humans. And the research is pretty clear on how to do that. If becoming an authoritative parent is your goal to best support your child, this next video will get you started with 5 essential strategies to help you parent with confidence. You'll learn how to promote better behavior today and set your child up for success in the future. Check it out here.